Hey Libra Sun and Libra Rising. This is your October 2015 Tarotscope. It's Rena here. And what I'm going to do this month is record this general reading on general topics and then a separate love spread for you. So look out for that. And I'm going to make these short and sweet, 10 minutes or less, or at least try to, because, I think that's enough time to kind of cover all the bases. So basically, this is your birthday month. And some of you obviously had a birthday in September. So happy belated birthday to those Librans. And for the rest of you, happy current birthday. I am recording this in mid September, so obviously, all of you have not had your birthday at the time of my recording, and you may actually listen to it at that point. But in any case, let's see what's happening astrologically for October. There's going to be a new moon in your sign, so this starts a whole new cycle for you, and this happens on the 12th of the month. It's at 19 degrees of Libra. And this falls in your first house. So that whole new cycle again, how you present yourself to the world. And this is a welcome new moon because at the time of this new moon, there will have been Mercury going direct a few days earlier. And this is also in the sign of Libra. So you might have felt a certain standstill, especially if you were someone who has your own business and you're trying to promote yourself, or if you were looking for a job and going on interviews, there might have been some kind of complications that threw roadblocks in your way. And now things are going to be going much smoother. And with the new moon, that increases the flow. And so that's really a nice thing to come on the heels of the Mercury going direct on the 9th. And I also wanted to bring up the lunar eclipse on September 27th that has just occurred, and this will be felt by you for as long as 6 months, and it occurred in your relationship sector. So for some of you, there might have been some revelation of the highest magnitude that shook you to your core or at least enlightened you. For some people, it may have been a very powerful experience when it came to a personal relationship. And the fact that the eclipse occurs in your relationship sector means that it occurred in the house that you naturally rule, the seventh house of relationships. So this makes it particularly powerful and maybe even life-changing in some way. I think Librans have really gone through many changes in the last 7 years or so because all this cardinal activity in the outer planets, and then we even had like a North Node in Libra for the past year, have altered your outer world to a great extent. And anything that appears in the outer world is also mirrored in the inner world. So it's very interesting to see the evolution of Librans in the past decade and how it may be playing out for you in various ways. But there's also going to be a full moon, and this will occur on the 27th of the month, and it's at 3 degrees of Taurus. And this falls in your eighth house. Your eighth house is connected to your spouse in terms of their resources. And being in Taurus, which is an earth sign, this could be particularly connected to money as a result, but it could also relate to any kind of investments that you have, especially with the stock market being quite volatile around the world. There may be like a sudden gain that you have that just like kind of comes in for you. There could also be something that comes to light related to your partner's finances that you were not aware of. And so be on the lookout for that, but also think about the mysteries of life. And it may cause you to be inspired to seek out the truth on the deepest levels rather than just skim the surface. I say this particularly because at the time of this full moon, you will also have Mars and Venus and Jupiter in that 12th house. And so this increases the energy of another house that relates to, you know, I was going to say woo, but in general, the things that are not seen of this world. So with the 12th house, it's more about past lives. The 8th house is more about the occult in general and death in particular. But the 12th house has to do with your dream life, your unconscious self, buried psychological issues, past life stuff. During this transit, when you have Venus in the 12th, you could actually meet up with people that you had relationships with in the past life. And if you form any romantic relationships at this time, just remember that there may be this sort of feeling that you knew the person long ago. And whether or not the relationship stands the test of time is anyone's guess, but it may just be a very unusual period of time for you when it comes to your love life. Also, with Mars there, there is kind of like this pent up energy that has to seek a release. And so it would behoove you to do hatha yoga and tai chi, things that are meant to circulate the prana or whatever you call it, but using physical means to do so. Jupiter is going to be in this house for an entire year. So you're divinely protected, is really what it boils down to. It's also a time, and I may have mentioned this last month, where you may cross paths with someone who becomes a spiritual teacher. And it's a rather subtle influence, I would say, overall, for a planet as expansive as Jupiter, but it can be a very important influence if you play your cards right. On the 23rd, the sun goes into the sign of Scorpio, and this is in your second house. So this is going to be good for starting a cycle of earned income. And as other planets join up in the second house, they will add their own influence. The sun there is great for aspirations to earn money. And so you may come up with great ideas, especially when Mercury joins the sun there. But you will, you could even attract money to you just by your positive vibration. If you have your own business, this is particularly helpful because you can utilize your creativity in order to figure out ways to increase your current income, create new income streams, and the like. So, Libra, and I picked some cards for you. The first two cards are for the first half of the month, leading up until just after the new moon in your sign. And I got the Five of Wands and the Four of Swords in reverse. So these are pretty, I was going to say combative cards, but they're not necessarily combative, active. And active in a way that is more indicative. For instance, the wands relate to fire, so it's like kind of a fiery competitive energy. And the Four Swords in reverse is like, you've been kind of in reflection and now you're on the saddle again. And not surprisingly, you've had so much energy in Virgo. And you have a little bit of a remnant with the Venus and Mars there, but basically a lot of those other influences have come and gone. And so that was your reflection period. And the Four Swords in reverse is saying, okay, now it's time to get back into the fray. And there's just like a natural rhythm of life. And this is kind of supporting you in that, especially after the new moon in your sign, when it signals the beginning of a new solar cycle. And with the Five of Wands, it's just kind of saying that it's not going to be how it has been maybe in the last month where it was more mellow. This is going to be more of like you fighting for yourself in some fashion, whatever that means to you. But it's not necessarily there's those leaves sprouting from the clubs or the wands. And so that means that there's some kind of fertility in all of this. There's some kind of a the battle is not for no reason. It's not like a what's that expression? It's not a rebel without a cause. It's you um, fighting for your rights, really, and some whatever that means to you, and getting back into the fray, getting back into the arena. And then in the last 2 weeks, I got the Queen of Swords, another swords card, which relates to air signs like you, and then the Eight of Pentacles. And so the Queen of Swords is a feminine energy, but it's also a very decisive energy, a woman who is in control. If you're a man hearing this, it could be either that you meet a woman who is an air sign who plays a part in your life, or it could be that you are experiencing a period of time where you're both intuitive as well as very logical. So there's a balance in your psyche and your soul expression. The Eight of Pentacles is particularly a great card for somebody who has started a business doing what they love to do. And so it's kind of like a labor of love. It could be also somebody who is getting the training to do something that they really want to do. But it shows busyness and it also shows profit because it's Pentacles card. It's an earthy card. So I think that this month will be very active for you, both mentally and physically, and that you have financial abundance occurring. But it's very much hands on. It's not just you sitting back and doing nothing to get this money. You'll be in the fray, and but you'll be using your mind to get what you want as well. It's not just brute strength. So, as I say, I'm going to be doing a love reading to accompany this. And if you want a private reading, I have a link below of some of my current offerings, and you can just click on them. Otherwise, take care, Libra. Happy birthday. Bye.